5, buy low, sell high for your fantasy football teams. Welcome back to Doing Football. Today, 1 buy low, 1 sell high from the 3 of us. Sandy is here to help us out, give us a few more for you. Avery on the bench, even though he did give us a good one. He did give us Tyson Williams, so he will come back to redeem himself. Yes. Sandy, why don't you get us started with a, what do we say we do?
Buy low. Let's do buy low.
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, thanks for having me on the show, fellas. Always wanted to get on. It's a pleasure to join today and give you my first buy low today. And I'm going to do CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, CeeDee Lamb this year, 20 receptions, 264 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's only been targeted 8 times in the last 2 games, which is relatively low, where he started with 15 targets in the first game and then another 9 in the second game of the season there. Huge regression so far in the last 2 games. I think this is a great buy low target here. We did talk about in the long form pod, though, this morning about how the run game for Dallas has been really good. So definitely part of the reason there would see, a guy like Michael Gallup goes down. I think that's a reason, you want to target this guy he's going to get more touchdowns. He's only had 1 TD through 4 weeks this year. I would like to think that would change, and I think CeeDee Lamb here is a great target. For a guy that I'd look to trade for here, I would like to trade for, give away Calvin Ridley or give away Tyler Lockett and get CeeDee Lamb in return. Those are 2 guys that I wrote down here. But as I said, I think only, 1 TD through 4 weeks, I think that's going to turn around. So I, would like to think CeeDee Lamb, great buy low target.
Yeah, it's been all the tight ends so far and the running backs, so CeeDee Lamb hasn't been getting much volume, which I would be very shocked if that doesn't change. I agree. He's pretty good buy low here.
Yeah, both Cooper and Lamb haven't really done too much the last few weeks, so it's interesting to see. The run, it's definitely a product of the run game, but I do see one of these guys coming back and popping off. I do like, Lamb over Lockett. Calvin Ridley's one that, this is a better offense, right? Lamb is in a better offense, so I don't hate that at all.
I can't trust Matt Ryan either. I know he had a decent week last week against Washington, but again, I just don't see much for Atlanta this year. They're going to throw in the towel at some point. And I think CeeDee Lamb with the Cowboys going to much better team this year. They're going to be in the fight for the NFC East, obviously, and CeeDee Lamb going to be a big part of that this year. So I like him a lot.
I love Lamb. We're doing buy low. My buy, not even really a buy low at this point, is Darrell Henderson of the Los Angeles Rams. He's the RB21 in PPR formats. Last week against the Cardinals in a game that they were never really in from the start. They were down right from the get-go. He still was 14 rushes for 89 yards and 5 receptions for 27 yards. So that's not, an output that is really on the buy low spectrum. If he got in the end zone, we'd be looking at a guy that would be one of the top running backs on the week. But I still think he's someone you really need to target, and I think would be overlooked by a lot of people. It's really built into his usage. He had a 90% snap share in this game. Michelle had just 7 snaps. That fumble he had early on really kind of took him off the field for the rest of the game. He has all the rushing attempts inside the 5, which is great. That's where you're getting your touchdowns. That's where you're getting your winning weeks from your running back. He's had all the attempts in long down and distance. So not only is he the guy they're going to in the red zone and right to try to score, but they're also going to him when they're in obvious passing down situation. So he's running a lot of routes, getting a lot of receptions. He just all around, to me, has the makings of being a top 12 back on the season, especially in this offense, which should be successful all year long. Should finish with, I would think, probably a 12-5 type record. Those are tons of positive game scripts for Darrell Henderson if he's healthy. A few guys that I would look to target him with. I'm really high on Darrell Henderson the rest of the season from what I've seen. Chase Edmonds is someone who's the RB11 so far in PPR formats that you can maybe use to go get Darrell Henderson. These 2, I think, are a little bit of a spicy take here, and I think you could easily get Darrell Henderson for these 2 guys. But Joe Mixon and Chris Carson, I think, are of a very similar ilk. But Darrell Henderson has the upside in terms of, I think, a better offense than both of those teams, and a team that'll be a more winning game script. So I would trade Joe Mixon or Chris Carson to get Darrell Henderson.
I like that. I think in today's modern NFL, he's as close to a workhorse running back as you can get.
Yeah.
And as you said, involved in every part of the game. Him being this good makes me really sad that Cam Akers tore his Achilles.
We say this every week, I feel like. But yeah.
Because I feel like he would have just gone off in this offense. But yeah, Darrell Henderson going to do 90% of what Cam Akers could have done.
Yeah, the other part for Henderson is his matchup the next 4 weeks. He has Seattle next week, and then he goes 2 New York, the Giants, and then the Lions and the Texans. So those are 3. Ooh. That's going to be cleanup. I think this is the time to buy low, Tmack. I think you're right on it. I think those 3, I mean, the Seahawks defense, better than the 3 that I named after that, but the Giants, the Lions, and then the Texans. I think that is a great, that's fantasy point city right there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you love to see that, Tmack.
Thank you for including that. I did not even look at that. Now I'm going to be spending the rest of the afternoon looking for ways that I can get Darrell Henderson.
Buying. Love it.
Okay, Jared,
my buy low, it's AJ Brown. He's wide receiver 76 so far.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this.
You hate that it's AJ Brown?
What's the hamstring update? I don't know where that is right now.
He's still going to be questionable for the upcoming week. We don't know if he's going to play or not, but there's a chance he plays. If not, he likely plays week 6.
Okay.
But my main reason for liking him, everyone forgets at the start of last season, he was injured. He has it wasn't hamstring, I think it was a calf injury, but he missed the first 3 weeks of the season or barely played. And then from week 5 on, he averaged 18.5 PPR points per game, 5 receptions, almost a touchdown per game, 7.5 targets, 80 yards. So he was so involved after he recovered from that injury. And I honestly think it's going to be the exact same this year. Everyone's going to start sleeping on him like they did last year, and he's going to have a big blow up once he's back. And I'd be shocked if he doesn't end up having a great end of the year. I would look to be trading Mike Evans or Tyler Lockett away for him. Because those are some guys who've had some much better games. And probably a lot of people who have AJ Brown are going to be teams that aren't doing well. So they're going to be desperate.
Yeah.
They're going to want a guy that is going to be on the field right now. And those guys that could easily provide that. So I'd be willing to acquire him for some of those guys.
I don't hate it. I'm just a frustrated Ryan Tannehill owner myself. He hasn't produced much. Tough week, obviously missing Julio and AJ last week against the Jets, taking the L there. But I don't hate it. I think, AJ Brown, we've seen what he can do. And I think when he's healthy, he's going to do well. And then with Julio, I don't know what the status of Julio is. Is he slated to be back this week? Or
he's probably about the same as AJ Brown.
Yeah, so I think both those guys back. I think AJ's a good pick there, and you can probably get him for cheaper than you would usually.
I don't want to hate on this too much, but I just think AJ Brown's a 2 touchdown dependent of a player, and dealing with a hamstring injury now is something I don't want to mess with.
On average last year, once he got back from that injury.
But the way that he what did he finish points per game wise? Wasn't he in the top
18.5?
But in terms of among wide receivers, do you remember where he was?
Oh, where he ranked?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I just think he's he needs to score to be in that upper echelon, which is what he was. We need to forget about draft capital now at this point of the season. We're 5 weeks in, but I'm just a little worried with the hamstring injury, and then he needs to score touchdowns to really, be worth the while. For the guys
I think he easily can. Last year, he scored so many touchdowns. He's a touchdown guy.
He can, but touchdowns are still a stat that aren't sticky year after year.
In 14 games, he had over 1,000 yards and 11 TDs last year.
Yeah.
AJ Brown. So,
and he's probably on pace to play that, if not less, games this year with the injury. So
in the extra game,
who knows?
I think he's just too big of a buy low. People are so off him at this point.
I'm definitely one of those people. I'm really off him. I didn't take him in any of my. I don't have him on any of my teams, so I can't.
If you had him on one of your teams and I offered you Tyler Lockett for him, would you take that deal?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
There we go. We'd have a trade.
We'd have a trade done right now. Who are the other ones you mentioned? Somebody else.
Mike Evans. I also have Amari Cooper on here. That one would be a bit closer. I don't know if I'd give away Cooper for him.
I'd definitely take Evans for Brown because to me they're pretty similar. One offense is better, but that's just my thought on. Okay, who do you have as a sell high?
So for my sell high for week 5, a lot of you may hate this, and I'm selling high on Deebo Samuel. So through 4 weeks, 28 receptions, 490 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, he's solidified his role as a wide receiver 1 there. I know Brandon Ayuk, so much pain in this office. A lot of people are high on him this year. Only had 3 targets last week. Deebo Samuel, he's a guy that's produced. He's I think he's the 4th wide receiver in PPR this year, if not 3.
I think he's
Is he higher?
2.
Is he 2? Okay, 2 or 3. He's top 5 nonetheless.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I think he's going to produce this year, but at this clip, I don't think he's a top 5, fantasy wide receiver this year. And I'm going to go shop him for a guy like Mike Williams or Amari Cooper. Those are 2 guys that I wrote down here. I don't know if you guys, how you feel about that, but I know you're high on Mike Williams this year. I think with that Chargers offense, I would love to secure Mike Williams there, or even Cooper, who had a couple down weeks, but he had a touchdown this week. So I definitely think, Amari Cooper for Deebo Samuel is a no-brainer for me. I don't know about you guys, but that's how I feel.
What do you think of because I like Mike, but I think I'd be buying Mike at his ceiling and selling. You know what I mean? I'd be selling both of buying and selling them both. What do you think of Keenan Allen?
I think I'd take Keenan.
Yeah,
like Deebo.
I do like Deebo because it does seem like he's solidified himself as the one. And I love Kyle Shanahan as a play caller. But again, we do have to now mix in, like, here comes Trey Lance.
Yeah, that was in a QB situation.
Forward.
Yeah, that's a big question mark.
I just don't know what other... tough to gauge what other people really think of him right now for 4 weeks.
I think Deebo Samuel definitely more valuable at Trey Lance, though. I would say. I think
so.
I think that's his guy. Like I know it's a very
did look
small
like his
sample
guy.
size, but and that was a broken play too. That we keep in mind that 80-yard TD was a completely broken play, so that pumped up his yardage a bunch more in the touchdown. But he did have that extra touchdown on the swing pass. He's an athletic guy. He seems like the safety blanket. I know this is probably one of the more unpopular plays given out today, but I do like him at a sell high. If you're going to get a guy like Amari Cooper, I would love that trade. So.
Yeah, I think Deebo and Mike Williams are kind of in that same tier of some people don't fully believe, like they fully aren't bought in that they're legit, but they have shown so many signs that they are based on their production this year.
Yeah.
But
Deebo's still, like Sandy said, is still a great option for your teams, but you could maybe capitalize on. One of the leagues I remember drafting in, I took Ayuk in whatever the regular round we like to take him, like was that the 7th or whatever, 6th?
6th or 5th usually.
Yeah, and then I took Trey Lance as like my guy to stash, as we talked about, and then it was so late and nobody was taking Deebo that I'm like, you know what, this is so late, I'll just take him too. And people said to me like, oh, you took all these 49ers. I was like, I couldn't help myself. Like, it was so late in the draft for Deebo, and now here I am.
Yeah.
And Deebo's the guy that worked out for me.
Deebo, Trey Lance.
My sell high is almost of a similar ilk that Sandy has. It's someone that's certainly drastically outperformed our expectations so far this season. No, it's not Mike Williams. It's Marquise Brown of the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not sold on the production so far. So he is the wide receiver 13 in PPR formats. He's had a great start to the season, been heavily targeted. The target share's there. Everybody's been talking about it. But there is the elephant in the room that is Rashad Bateman, another wide receiver of a highly regarded, highly skilled. Avery's fist pumping over here in the background. That is going to step into this offense and demand a role. The target share, the draft capital's there. The target share for Marquise Brown is going to come down. I'm positive of it. Rashad Bateman's probably going to find his way on the field in 2 wide receiver sets and take away from Sammy Watkins as well. But this offense is really perplexing. I said it to Jared before the show. But right now, the Ravens are 31st in the NFL in trail pass rate. So when they're trailing in games, they actually throw the ball the least of any other team in the NFL.
It's so weird.
Or second least, I guess. I don't know who's 32nd. I would love to find out who's 32nd. But it's a weird concept. And then overall, they're 8th in the NFL in run rate. And then I'm combining that as well with they're 24th in the NFL in plays per minute. So the volume is not there in terms of they don't have a lot of plays per game. And then at the same time, they are running the ball at the 8th highest rate in the NFL. So if I'm mixing in another pass catcher that's going to demand volume into this offense, in an offense that already runs the ball a lot, there just isn't enough to go around for someone to produce at a rate of like a top. I see Marquise Brown falling out of the top 20 top 20 wide receiver this season, if I'm being completely honest. So a few guys I would look to target. I think Devontae Smith you could 100% get. If you had Marquise Brown, tried to get Devontae Smith, I think you could get him. Few other guys, Tyler Lockett after a few down weeks. Deontay Johnson, I love his volume. I know I'm going to get consistency from him. So those are a few guys you can look to target if you have Marquise Brown. I did see a trade, I think it was last week or the week before, of Robert Woods for Marquise Brown. I think
I would take Marquise Brown.
I was going to say, I don't know about that.
At first, I was surprised by Marquise Brown already being at that level of like somebody willing to make that kind of deal. So even after this week with another touchdown, this could climb even higher, and maybe Deontay is someone you could get for him.
I like that too. I mean, it was a huge, was it a 55-yard touchdown catch this week from Marquise there? I think without that, that's not a good performance outside of that. It was a big play. Yep. Obviously, he's got the speeds there.
He's the big play guy.
He's the big play guy for sure. And, Lamar, it was a great throw. Nonetheless, it was a good touchdown, but I don't think that will hold up over the course of the season. I think he's definitely a good sell high target. And a guy like, you mentioned Devonta Smith, another guy like I love. Jared and I are all over it. It's good to see the Eagles ball in this year. So I like that trade there.
I don't know. I'm more bought into Marquise Brown just because we started to see it last year, just how reliable of a target he is for Lamar Jackson. Even in the red zone, like Marquise Brown is one of his favorite targets, even more so than Mark Andrews, it seems like. And I am a little bit concerned about Rashad Bateman, But I also think Rashad Bateman will likely take more of Sammy Watkins' role than Marquise Brown.
Yeah, I think he's definitely not going to keep Marquise Brown off the field.
Yeah.
I don't think that either. I definitely don't think that Marquise Brown is going to all of a sudden tumble down to being a wide receiver 30-something and not produce. But I just think that at this point I can get someone more reliable and in an offense that'll throw the ball more too and give me more opportunity.
Yeah, like if you could get like a Deontay Johnson, I would 100% take that.
That's Big Ben's guy. I mean,
he's just
so many targets.
Going to have a million targets a game. So I don't know. It depends on what you could get for him. I'm a little bit bought into Marquise Brown though.
Yeah, I feel like I am taking a guy another player that might be an obvious like try to sell, but I just do see it as maybe people are starting to really come around on him.
Yeah, and none of us took him, but another obvious sell would have been Cordell Patterson.
None of us. I know it's my first day on the show, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, I can't make my introduction on doing football
I don't want
way.
my sell to be that obvious.
Yeah, I don't know what you could get for Cordell Patterson.
He's the RB2 this year, isn't he?
Yeah,
crazy,
insane.
Nuts.
But my sell high, it's Kareem Hunt. He's the running back 5 so far on the year. And going back to last year, it's always been the same for Kareem Hunt. You either get a 6-point game or like a 20-point game, depending on the game script. It's always game script dependent. And so far, we've seen quite a few boom games. 3 of his 4 have been boom games, leading up to a great season so far. But I don't think it's going to continue as much that way. Like, they're not going to just use him more often than Nick Chubb the rest of the season. That doesn't make any sense. Chubb is just still a much better running back. And like you think Kareem Hunt is the receiving threat. But even then, he's had three or fewer receptions in 3 or 4 games, and he only had 38 receptions last year. So he's not actually as involved in the receiving game as everyone thinks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think he's going to be like a top 10 running back. I'd be willing to confidently say he falls out of the top 10. So at that rate, like I'm willing to trade him away. Like as you said, Darrell Henderson would be a great trade for me, I think. If I could trade away Kareem Hunt for Darrell Henderson straight up right now.
I think a lot of people would take that.
That's true, yeah. But
he's not even a receiving back, though. Like he only had that one game against Chicago where he had 6 catches for 70 yards, and then the other games, it's like all under 20 yards, basically.
Yeah, that's why I think people might be bought in more because he's put up 3 really good games so far. So if you could package him with some other piece for Antonio Gibson, and Gibson hasn't been that great so far to start the year, so I would love to package him with another piece for Gibson there. Just anyone in that range, really. Like,
is there anyone you'd want, like you could trade for him straight up that you think would definitely happen, like someone would definitely hit accept on?
Definitely happen? I'd be willing to do Evans or Godwin.
Receiver-wise, yeah.
Like, I'd rather have Godwin than Hunt the rest of the season.
Like, I know you're not an Evans guy, so you'd probably say God. Would you take that, Tmack, Evans for Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
Offered you?
Yeah, because I feel like if I drafted Kareem Hunt, he's probably my 3rd back.
So maybe a running back needy team. They see how well Kareem Hunt's doing.
Yeah.
Trade away one of their top wide receivers.
Yeah, and you can grab a wide receiver. I don't like that. I don't mind that at all. God, Kareem Hunt is he's such a good player. If the Browns do get healthy at wide receiver and they get consistent production from Odell, then, like you said, I mean, now I'm saying this, and Kareem Hunt really hasn't been that involved as a pass catcher. So who knows? Interesting. He's definitely someone I would look to see what I can get for him for sure. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. If you need the Discord as well, I know we've had some comments in the Discord about the Discord. Just drop a comment below. We'll get you the link as well. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.